recently, and you seemed confused about how it was that they caught Oswald so quickly. This is information that's been on the public record a really long time and has been easily accessible. So I'm wondering, why were you so confused on this issue?
Because all they knew at the who said Oswald did it at that point in time.
Well, there's a book downstairs that I could walk you to that explains it in very clear detail.
Really?
Yeah, William Manchester's book.
Really? Well, to me it's this. I haven't read that book, but Kennedy was killed miles away from that theater. Tippit was killed about a mile from it. And the only thing, the merchant that saw Oswald, all he saw was Oswald sneak in the side. It was one of them old theaters, I've been to it, where they got the ticket thing out front. All he saw was Oswald go into the side, this merchant. And he called up and said, somebody just went into the Texas Theater and didn't buy a ticket.
Well, someone
now, wait a minute.
Also called in a police officer on Tippit's CB radio.
Do what?
Someone used Tippit's CB radio to let the authorities know what was happening.
Well, we cover all that. No, they couldn't identify Oswald as doing it. You want to debunk that? They also found cartridge shell casings next to Tippit's body.
Yeah, Oswald, but they saw him run into the theater, and they found him there.
Oswald was carrying a revolver.
And
it didn't eject shells. So you're telling me he shot Tippit and
they also had eyewitnesses see him run out of the depository, so they had a description of him. So it sort of baffles me that you're still confused about this.
Hand in that building. Nobody saw Oswald shoot or put. And they say
they saw him leave.
They say he carried the Mannlich and Carcano in that day. He had curtain rods. Remember that bullshit? Broke it down and had curtain rods, right? Well, I've shot the Mannlich or Carcano. It has a long, extended wood stock to where the barrel only sticks out about that far from the wood. If you break it down, I'm 6'4". I can't get that under my armpit and carry it because it's
all right, but these are unrelated details to actually seeing Oswald leave the depository. And
you must be a Warren Commission guy.
Yeah. No, I just read William Manchester's book.
You know, well, who's Manchester?
He's an esteemed historian who wrote the book because Jacqueline Kennedy commissioned him to do it.
Really?
Yes.
Well, then why
and
did
you should know this if you're a researcher.
Why did Jacqueline Kennedy, the only quote she ever said was, "They murdered my husband." She didn't say he did.
What
she
context?
Said, "They murdered my husband."
What context did she say that?
Huh?
So she said something under duress. I'm not sure what that proves.
Anyway, you and I will choose to differ. You know, and when they went to arrest Oswald, this guy that didn't buy a ticket to get into the theater, it was amazing. 10 squad cars, 24 cops in the news media for a guy that didn't buy a ticket to go in the theater. You know, and that's all that. Now you're going to tell me the merchant was there and he heard the police radio and he heard all that stuff.
Well, the president just got assassinated, so the entire city was on edge.
I got your guy right here. He just snuck it. And let's look at common sense here for a minute. You've just killed the president. So you run down, hide your gun, you run down 6 flights of stairs, and you go over and buy a Coke. That's got to be the greatest ad for Coca-Cola in history. What do you do when you've just shot the president and the governor and you have a Coke and a smile? That's believable. Then, instead of laying low, getting out of town, you just shot the president. Common sense here. Let's put some common